It was the beginning of spring in Chicago. Just when the weather was getting a little better, the rain started to pour. Lydia ran into the small 24-hour coffee shop she worked at. The winds were howling, raindrops covered every inch and corner of the windows. Every now and then, Lydia could hear the thunder rumbling. Tonight seemed to be one of those eerily silent nights. No one in their right minds would be out this late in the pouring rain. Lydia personally hated the job, mostly because the shop was located in the worst part of the neighborhood. She had to travel all the way from downtown Chicago after her evening college classes to this remote part of the city. There weren't any other stores, shops, or restaurants for miles, except for the cheap, rusty motel across the street from which most of the customers usually dropped by during her shift from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The good news was there was a TV installed in the shop, so Lydia could binge watch whatever she wanted. No one was here to complain. It was past midnight when Lydia heard the bell ring as a man stumbled in the shop, soaking wet, struggling to close his umbrella. It took him a while to win the battle against his umbrella, after which he exchanged a glance with Lydia. "The weather's not so great outside, is it?" "Don't mention it. I was crossing the road when a car drove by, splashing all this muck on me." "Tough luck. Last time that happened to me, I threw a rock at the car. Payback deserved. But don't you think it's a bit too late to be having coffee?" "I was actually searching for a place to have some dinner. I didn't seem to spot any other restaurants around here, so here I am. I thought I'd find something to eat over here." Lydia chuckled. "Why do you think the store owner opened this here?" The man ordered some hash browns and a bagel. It wasn't dinner, but the closest it would get on the menu. The man walked down the table in the corner and sat beside the window. It was a bit strange to see someone in a fancy coat over his formal tucked-in shirt and pleated pants, although the man didn't look like he was having a very good day. He looked tired and messed up. Lydia quickly prepared the food and brought it to the table, with a whole pile of paper towels on the tray. "Here's your order. You might want to dry out that hair. It's dripping wet, and the weather's pretty chilly." "Thanks, that's very kind of you. I'm guessing you're staying at the motel across the street?" "Yes, I arrived here earlier today." "Oh, so you're new to the city. That explains the suit and the tie. I was about to say, I've never seen anyone dressed like that in this area. Is this your first time here?" "I'm actually here for some work. I'm from Clarendon Hills, here in Illinois. I'll be staying here for about a week." "That's cool. I grew up here in Chicago. I'm Lydia Peterson." "I'm Jeremy Lehman. It's nice to meet you." "Well then, Jeremy. Hope you enjoy your stay in the city." Lydia sat back down behind the counter. Every now and then, she peeked a glance at her only customer. It wasn't long before he finished his food and got up to leave. "Thank you for your service. This would have been one night if I had to wait till morning like this." "No problem. Come back again." But that was just another one of Lydia's dialogues that she blabbered out to every customer. However, the next night, she was surprised to see Jeremy was back. Although this time, he wasn't wearing his fancy coat. He looked pretty laid back and relaxed. "Here for dinner again?" "Looks like I'll be having breakfast for dinner while I'm staying at this motel." Lydia watched as Jeremy took that same seat to the corner. He took out a book and started writing something down. "Hash browns and a bagel," she said as she brought the tray of food. Jeremy put away his pen in his book and looked at her. "So, what do you do? How is everything going with work?" "So far, so good. I was here for the annual art exhibit. Have you heard of it?" "Yeah, I saw the advertisement. The BII gallery? It's not too far from the college I go to. But I've heard only really popular artists get a chance to display their work there." "I know. My paintings are all up in the gallery as well." Oh, so you're one of those big-shot artists, huh? Then what are you doing staying at this shabby motel, in the shabbiest part of town? Jeremy chuckled. It's not as shabby as your shabby little coffee shop. Lydia laughed. Huh, at least we have Wi-Fi here. Wi-Fi? You should have told me earlier. I was getting bored in that dingy room, Jeremy said as he pulled out his laptop. Lydia went back behind the counter. A few customers were in and out for the next hour, after which the shop was empty, except for Jeremy, who spent a long part of the night in the seat to the corner. He was rather quiet. Once in a while, he did take a glance at Lydia, only to shy away when she looked back at him. It was nearly 3 a.m. when Jeremy finally packed up for the night. The next night, Lydia was expecting Jeremy to arrive again, and as usual, he walked through the door around midnight. He ordered the same hash browns. Lydia had been watching Jeremy scribble in his notebook for quite some time now. She arranged some jelly-filled donuts onto a plate and brought it over to him. When Jeremy noticed her coming, he quickly closed his notebook. Enjoy, she said with a smile. I think you brought this to the wrong table. No, it's on the house. But that was a little white lie. Lydia could tell Jeremy was on a budget. That was one thing you could tell if anyone chose to stay at the stingy motel across the street. As soon as Lydia turned around, Jeremy opened up his notebook and started writing again. It made Lydia a bit curious. She noticed that every time she would walk by his table, he would quickly shut his book as if he were trying to hide something. Jeremy was quiet and shy. He never really spoke much, unless Lydia started the conversation. He was a typical small-town guy, not too clever, but decent. The next few days went on like this. It was on Thursday night that Lydia noticed Jeremy looked a bit stressed. When she inquired about it, she learned that he had spent a fortune on getting his artwork up at the BII gallery. What? You spent all your savings? Who puts all their eggs in one basket? I know, I was having second thoughts, but it's been a dream for so long. The big event is tomorrow. I hope my work gets noticed. It took a lot to get this far. Don't be so stressed out. Everything will be fine. Hard work always pays off. The next night, Lydia was looking forward to meeting Jeremy. Lydia prepared his order and sat behind the counter waiting for him. Every time a customer walked through the door, Lydia turned around in a hurry, but it wasn't Jeremy. Why wasn't he here yet? Lydia started to play with the cups like on her usual nights at the shop. Until around 3 a.m., she heard the bells jingle by the door. It was Jeremy, finally. Jeremy, you're late today. I got caught up with something. How did it go at the exhibit? Successful. It was great, Jeremy said as he walked to the corner, took out his book and sat down. Congratulations. I prepared your food already. I made something special for you. I'll be back in a jiff, Lydia said as she went to the kitchen. She decorated a plate of Boston cream donuts and put it onto the tray. But when she brought it out, she found the shop empty. There on the corner table was Jeremy's notebook and his pen, but Jeremy wasn't there. Did he go to the restroom? Lydia waited a while, but when Jeremy didn't return, she checked the restroom. It was empty as well. She went out on the street. The streets were empty too. Lydia went back into the shop confused. She picked up the notebook Jeremy had left. She planned to keep it aside, but curiosity got the better of her and she flipped the book open. She stared at drawings page after page. She was amazed at how realistic each sketch was. Lydia raised her brows as she looked through each picture. Was this her? Jeremy had sketched pictures of Lydia pouring coffee into a cup, Lydia handing a bag over the counter. So this was what he was trying to hide. Lydia looked out the window and scanned the streets again. Where did he go? Was this his way of asking her out? He was so shy, he didn't even have the courage to speak to her. Lydia chuckled as she looked at a drawing of her just sitting there in boredom with her hands against her cheeks. Looks like she'll have to drop by the motel to meet someone special after work. It was around 4 a.m. now. There were still 2 more hours to the end of her shift. Lydia knew it was perhaps silly of her, but she was jittering with excitement. The next hour felt like a lifetime while Lydia cleaned up around the shop. Suddenly, a news report on the TV caught her attention. Numerous folk from the art world are now flocking the BII Gallery at the Loop in Chicago for a chance to get a glimpse of the work of a small-town artist named Jeremy Lehman, and many are spending a fortune to make it their very own. Jeremy Lehman, a small-town artist who came to the city with big ambitions for a chance to get his talent out there. Tonight, he won the Best Artist Award for his gorgeous paintings. His art was truly remarkable, reaching great heights only to fall from the skies, leaving us all here at the exhibit in grief and sorrow. His life was cut too short in a car accident that followed immediately after the exhibit took place this evening. We have indeed lost a great artist who could have been a tremendous contribution to the art world. Lydia stood up in shock and disbelief. She looked at Jeremy's picture flashing on the screen. But how could this be? Jeremy had come to the shop. She spoke to him. He spoke with her. Suddenly, Lydia remembered the notebook. She hurried to open it up. She flipped through each and every page, not wanting to accept what she heard. She then froze. On a page, the last entries Jeremy had written. I can't believe I'm in love. Her name is Lydia, and she's just beautiful. Even the simplest things she does makes her more lovable to me. The way she tries to sneak a peek at my work, the way she writes my name on the cup, the way she stares out the window in boredom. My hands don't have the skill to put her beauty onto paper, nor do I have anything to propose to her. I've worked hard on my paintings. A lot of people seem to like them too. If everything works out at the exhibit on Friday, I think I'll finally tell her how I feel. I'll come to ask her out on a date. I hope she says yes. A tear dropped onto the paper, smudging the ink that had once been there. Lydia held the book in her hand tightly. This was something she would cherish forever. Something someone special had returned to give her. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. This is Parker Weasley. He's almost 30, lives in a studio apartment in Bloomington, Indiana. Works an irritating 9-to-5 job as a sales representative at BII Electronics. He doesn't have a whole lot of friends, but does occasionally go out with the guys. As for women, Parker just hasn't found the right one yet. Parker is a happy-go-lucky guy. He has quite a humorous outlook towards all the negative experiences in life, rather changing them into positive moments. Moments he would later ponder upon and have a good laugh. To ease out his stress and deal with his first world problems, Parker likes eating exotic food. Exotic being the homemade kimchi Mr. Chang sells at the deli across the street from Parker's apartment building. Mr. Chang is a cool guy. I mean, way better than the people Parker has to deal with at work. Every morning is the same. Wake up hours earlier to catch the bus. Say hello to Madison McCoy, the beautiful, independent, intelligent logistics manager at BII Electronics, who arrives at the same time as he does, but has yet to notice him. Good morning, Madison. You're looking nice today. Yeah, I know. I always look nice. I really don't have time right now. See you around, Peter. It's Parker. Yeah, that's what I said. Peter Parker. I know. It's Parker, Hey, instead of hitting on girls that are totally out of your league, why don't you wear the proper dress code to work? This is blue. No, here at BII Electronics, it's part of the policy that you wear requisite blue to work. But it seems like you don't have that professionalism in you to wear the proper attire, just like you don't have the guts to ask out a woman. That is Alexander, in short, Alex, the annoying, arrogant blockhead of a supervisor that always likes giving Parker a hard time. On the other hand, Parker isn't the type of guy that likes to argue with people for no apparent reason. And so, work sometimes turns out to be pretty strenuous because people like taking advantage of him. Like when deliveries of new products arrive, and suddenly his colleague, who is supposed to be assisting him, vanishes, leaving him alone. "Hey bro, I think I heard Alex calling me up front. I'll be right back." "Yeah, I think a lot of customers are coming in. They need another person up at the register." "How am I going to sort out all these packages by myself?" As you can see, things usually don't go Parker's way. But that's not to say there aren't some nice people around here. During his lunch breaks, Parker always goes to the coffee shop across the street. Emily, the barista, has become a good friend. Waiting for someone? Waiting? For who? "It's Juan. He should be here soon." "I don't know who you're talking about, Nancy." "Oh wait, he's already here." "Parker, I'll get you your vanilla double shot cinnamon frappuccino, decaf, half soy, extra hot with foam whipped cream, upside down double blended, and your turkey sandwich." "Thanks, Emily." "How in the world do you remember his order?" "I just do, okay? Why don't you just ask him out instead of waiting for him every day?" "No way. What if he stops coming here?" "Besides, he told me he likes someone. He's into those kind of girls, pencil skirts and high heels, and I'm all t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers. At least now we're friends. I don't want to mess things up." "Mr. Chang, the last batch of kimchi you made, boy that was spicy, but here I am to buy that addictive stuff again." "How are things going, Parker?" "As usual, keeping my hopes up." "Why don't you try the lottery? You might just get lucky." "I'll get lucky? Haha. Here, try it one time." Parker went home, plopped down on the couch with his laptop to check his lottery ticket. Just when there was a knock on his door. It was the landlord. "You're a day late." "Sorry, Mr. Jenkins. I've been having some trouble with my expenses. I'll get you the rent first thing next week." "I don't want to hear it, Parker." "Just a few more days, Mr. Jenkins." Mr. Jenkins shrugged as he walked down the hall, murmuring, "Useless, incompetent youngsters. If you can't pay the rent, why do you rent in the first place?" Parker sighed as he closed the door. Suddenly, his eyes caught the numbers flashing on his laptop. They looked familiar. No way. Did he just... Parker Weasley, a resident here in Bloomington, Indiana, has won the biggest BII ball jackpots amounting to $7 million. Mr. Weasley, tell us how you're feeling. Now that you're a millionaire, what are you going to do next? I'm stunned. I mean, I still can't believe it. What am I going to do? Everything I ever wanted to. Parker's world was about to change. Though he won $7 million, after the tax cut, he was able to get a little over $5 million. At first, Parker thought he would leave this boring life, buy himself a mansion, a nice car, and party the rest of his life. But then he thought he should have a different kind of fun. What if he kept all this money in the bank and just led a normal life? Hey there, Parker. Good morning. Parker, my man. Parker, Didn't you win the lottery, and you're still working here? So what if I won the lottery? I gotta work, and what better place than this? It's alright, Parker, I got it. I can handle the customers, don't worry about it. Parker might have been a simple guy, but that didn't mean he was gullible or intellectually compromised. Once the news reports started coming out, everyone was looking for a chance to speak to Parker. Everyone was nice to him. Even the big boss came to visit him. Wow, Parker, I didn't know a celebrity was working for our company. Where's Alex, that moron? What good are you for? Change this young man's department. I want him working up front from now on. But we don't have enough people to handle the deliveries. Manage, that's why I've hired you, incompetent. Who knew being a millionaire could be so much fun? Melania was looking for every chance to flirt with him, and Madison was checking him out every now and then, giving him looks. But now, Parker would keep her hanging. Parker, are you on your lunch break? Wow, me too. Why don't we get lunch together? I know this great place nearby. That's alright, maybe another day. Parker now suddenly had a bunch of friends at the workplace, those who were willing to work overtime for him, those who wanted to hang out with him. Wow, this looks like a truck's load. It's gonna take a few hours with both of us working. Yeah, thanks for helping out. I thought Alex was calling me up front. That's alright, Parker, you go ahead, I'll take care of it. And who could imagine, Alex the supervisor, now treating Parker like his equal. Now he likes all the shades of blue that Parker wears. You know, my guys and I were going golfing this weekend. Why don't you join? Sure. Dude, is that a Chevrolet Corvette? Impressive, man. This car is just awesome, bro. On the next weekend, Parker finally decided to pick up one of Madison's numerous calls and agreed to their date at 7 in the evening. However, he got there 3 hours late. And what a surprise, Madison is still waiting here. This chick is now so much in love with him that she was waiting last person in the restaurant. Look how the tables have turned. Sorry I'm late. No, it's fine. I understand. It was just a little wait. A little wait, huh? The date actually went pretty well. Madison couldn't stop trying to pamper Parker, and Parker couldn't stop laughing on the inside, of course. You must work out a lot. Look at those arms. I've always noticed they're so huge. Psh, Parker never works out. Now he was getting compliments for things he didn't even do. Just here to pick up my Frappuccino, Emily. You're not gonna have lunch? Nope, got a lot of places to be with a lot of people. Enjoy the tip. $100 tip. That's alright, Parker. Give it to someone else. No, take it. Buy yourself something nice. Excuse me? Wow, that was rude. Yeah, well, he's rich now. Looks like money changes people. I think I'm gonna keep my distance from him. He's not the guy I fell in love with anymore. Emily put the tip in the tip jar. She wasn't going to keep that for herself. How are you doing, Parker? Oh, I apologize, Mr. Jenkins. I was out so late last night I forgot to withdraw cash for the rent. That's alright. I wasn't here to collect rent anyway. Just came to see if everything was alright. Any issues? Leaks? Clogs? Would you like anything replaced? Things were going all too well for Parker. Life had never been so awesome. It was like he could say whatever he wanted, he could do whatever he wanted, and he would get away with it because everyone wanted to be on his good side. People wanted a rich friend, a friend that they could use, a friend that they could brag about. Like Parker was going to forget how they treated him when he didn't have the money. You? What happened to her? The $100 wasn't good enough? She didn't take your $100. Parker got up from the seat and shouted across the shop to Emily. I see you're still wearing those worn-out jeans. You gotta fix yourself up, Emily. This is why people like you don't get anywhere. Emily was embarrassed in front of everyone, but she kept her calm and continued as if she hadn't heard him. Why was Parker creating a scene here? That's alright, she doesn't need others telling her how to live her life, Parker. How about I get someone else to serve you today? No, I'd like her to serve me. Then I think you should leave, because that's not going to happen. Emily was hurt. She felt like crying. She didn't want anyone seeing her eyes had become red and teary. She quickly took off her apron and slipped out the back door. Thankfully, Nancy was able to handle things until Parker left. Emily had no wishes to see him again. She wanted to forget all those memories of him. After work, Emily walks home alone every evening. But today, she suddenly noticed that Parker was walking behind her. Hey, what are you doing here? I don't have a tissue, but maybe you can take a $100 bill and wipe those tears? Why would I shed tears for you? Wait, I was joking. You want to know something, Emily? Ever since I got all this money, everyone around me has changed. Everyone suddenly tolerates everything I say or do. Everyone wants to be friends, whereas those same people were very inconsiderate towards me before. Why are you telling me this? Because you're the only person who saw me for myself, and now that I have all this money, you never want to see me again? Because you've changed. Money has changed you. You're not the Parker I knew. You're a jerk. Go date your hot colleagues. You don't need to walk behind me wasting your time. And don't even bother coming to the shop again embarrassing everyone. Parker suddenly got on his knees and took out a diamond ring from his pocket. Emily, will you marry me? Emily was shocked. She didn't know what to say. Deep down inside, she really did like Parker. Yes, I will. Parker jumped up again, pointing at her. See? You didn't take that $100 bill, but now you want to marry me seeing this $8,000 ring? You jerk, Emily said, turning around. Parker hurried after her, chuckling. I was joking. Wait. The beginning of something beautiful. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. It was a rainy day in Sacramento, California. Dr. Kurt Schneider was taking his car out of the parking lot of the hospital where he worked. He was heading out on a long journey to Los Angeles, where he was called to be present for an emergency medical procedure. He was unable to book a flight on such a short notice and had no other choice but to drive there to make it on time to LA. It would take about 5 hours to get to his destination, and the faster he would get going, the better. Before long, Kurt drove out onto a highway and had been driving for some time. He passed by what seemed to be the last gas station before a long distance down the highway. Kurt looked at his fuel indicator. The tank was full, and he passed the gas station without any hesitation. The gas he had in his car would be enough to make it to LA. It was pouring rain outside, and Kurt sped up his car and drove fast along the empty highway road. Kurt had been driving in the rain for a distance, until suddenly his car jolted and took a stop on the highway. Kurt poked his head out of his car and looked around. The road was empty. He didn't understand what had just happened. He wondered if he had driven over something. Just then, Kurt glanced at the fuel indicator in his car. The gas tank was empty. Kurt was astonished. How could this be? It was full a while ago. Kurt distinctly remembered passing by the last gas station because his gas tank was completely full. How can a full tank run out of gas in just about 5 kilometers distance? Something was definitely not right. After sitting in his car for a while, Kurt decided to get out and start walking towards the gas station he had left behind. What other option did he have? Maybe he could get a towing service to get him his car from there. After walking about 1 kilometer in the pouring rain, Kurt noticed a light in the distance behind him. It was the headlights of a car. He raised both his hands and signaled for the car to stop. Just a distance away, the car halted, and the driver rolled down the window. Kurt hurried to the car and was surprised when he saw a young woman sitting in the driver's seat. He stared at her for a while. The young woman looked at him and said, "How may I help you, Grandpa?" Kurt was a little taken aback at the young woman's remark. Did he look that old? Kurt said, "My car went out of gas while I was driving down this road. It's strange, I thought it was full the last time I saw a gas station. There's a gas station about 4 kilometers down this road. Since you're heading that way anyways, could you please drop me off there? It would be very kind of you. I've been walking for 1 kilometer already." "Sure. I thought I saw your car on the road. Come on in, Grandpa. I'll give you a lift." Kurt walked around the car and took the front seat next to the young woman. After a few minutes of driving along the road, Kurt spoke up and said, "So where are you heading to?" "Oh, me? I was just going to spend the weekend with my boyfriend." Kurt nodded. "You know, when I saw you, I got really surprised." The young woman raised her brow and said, "Why?" Kurt said, "You actually look just like my wife." The young woman let out a laugh and jubilantly said, "Really? But Grandpa, where did you find a young girl like me to marry you?" Kurt said, "We got married when we were young, but she's no more. She died young due to sepsis." The young woman said, "She must have been your first wife. You must have married 3 more times by now." Kurt was shocked. He wondered, 3 more times? What does she think of me? Kurt looked out the window and sighed. "No, I didn't get married again." The young woman frowned and said, "You know what? I've heard old people say they don't really get my generation, but honestly, I'm the one who doesn't understand your generation. What's wrong with you people?" Kurt looked at the young woman. "Really? What makes you say that?" The young woman explained, "How do you stay without getting married? So you've been single for the last 100 years? Or have you been dating women a 10th of your age? That's not normal. I'm actually having second thoughts on picking you up now. Maybe you're a psycho." Kurt chuckled and said, "First of all, I was not born old, and it hasn't been 100 years. And I've truly been single in every sense, and I have not dated ever since." The young woman said, "That's crazy." The young woman and Kurt had passed some distance on the road when the young woman asked, "So how did you meet Grandma?" "I met my wife back when I was in school. Her name was Cassandra. We were high school sweethearts." Isn't that so predictable, your generation? Yes, and you youngsters all meet each other on the net, don't you? Do you know how difficult it is to impress someone on the net? You must have had no obstacles in your relationship. Obstacles? Now that's a long story. And one with 2 big obstacles. You know what they're called? I'll tell you. Cassandra's father and her elder brother. Those were 2 men that I couldn't get off my back. They were like 2 eagles keeping their keen eye on me, and I felt like a little dove trying to fly off with Cassandra. Like back when it was a week before the senior prom at our high school. Of course, Cassandra was eager to go with me, and she had been bugging me to ask permission from her father. I was nervous. I didn't want to risk a chance of disapproval. I was dropping Cassandra off home when her elder brother spotted us. "You little brat, you think you can sneak around with my sister like this?" He dragged me back home and started banging on his door. He was nearly 2 feet taller than me, and he looked like a goon. But I still could have put up a good fight with him, but I went along with it since he was Cassandra's brother. So the next thing you know, Cassandra's father stomps out the door with his rifle and points it at my face. You think you can fool around with my daughter and get away with it? No, sir, it's not like that. Cassandra and I are in love. Yes, father, put that away, you're overreacting. I'm warning you, young man. If I see you anywhere close to my precious daughter again, I won't wait a second to pull this trigger on you. Sir, that won't be necessary. It will not happen again. May I take your daughter, Sari? Cassandra's father and brother bursted out laughing. The young woman chuckled and said, "That must have been embarrassing. Were you scared when he took out his rifle?" I think they got impressed by me that day. The next day, Cassandra surprised me by coming to my house for rewarding me. Every time, actually, whenever I felt low in my life. Oh, so Grandma was a foxy lady. No, she wasn't foxy. She used to reward me with her baking skills. She used to bake her special thumbprint cookies and cakes. We got married when we were in college, and trust me, college was another bumpy ride. I had to fend off other guys that would hit on her. There was this one creep who wouldn't stop following her around. I ended up getting into a fight with him, and both of us got suspended for a week. I broke my arm in the process. But that guy didn't dare to put an eye on my girl after that day. So you went to fight for your girl and you broke your own arm. What a way to impress Grandma. The way I see it, that guy could have roamed around for the rest of his life, and Grandma wouldn't have cared. Cassandra took a lot of care of me for a whole month after that. She stayed with me and made my food and looked after the apartment. And that sort of continued until we finally got married. Cassandra took care of everything. I didn't have to worry about anything anymore. We bought our own house in Texas and moved in. Cassandra had been saving money over the years and she surprised me with our first car. Things were happy until she fell sick. The disease was actually spreading in Texas. A lot of people suffer from sepsis in Texas every year. Cassandra was one of those unfortunate people. The young woman said, "So Grandma was the perfect girl." Kurt looked at the young woman and said, "Well, not really. Now that I think about it, she wasn't that perfect. Her cousin Jessica was much prettier than her. Cassandra actually had something with her right ear. It was a little crooked. She was going bald, her hair was falling off. Jessica had the most beautiful eyes, and Cassandra's eyes were just ordinary. But everyone has one flaw or another, right? It isn't really that big of a deal." I always tried to overlook Cassandra's flaws. I tried to keep things right between us. Her family was just over the top annoying, and those cookies I had to finish? Boy, that was a misery. Cassandra cooks, but her cooking is awful. Just then, the young woman let go of her steering. Her cheeks had turned hot red, and she looked like she was fuming steam out of her ears. She stretched her hands out and grabbed Kurt by the neck. "What did you say? I'm going to kill you." Kurt couldn't help but laugh. "Your cookies and cakes were fine. They were delicious. You came back to take me? You had to prank me even now?" The young woman angrily said, "What else did you expect me to do? You died and didn't even realize it. You started roaming on this highway like a wandering ghost. If I didn't pick you up, you would have been walking down this road for ages, scaring people on this highway." Kurt smiled and said, "I hope all of this is followed by a reward." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Hey Aunt Peggy, what's up? Hi Caleb, I was wondering if you were going to drive to Justin's wedding. Could you take me with you? Wait, who? Whose wedding? Justin is getting married? Yes, you didn't know? Of course I knew. He's my younger brother. So we're going together then? Absolutely, I'll come pick you up myself. Caleb Allen just got a call from his distant Aunt Peggy that she was going to attend his younger brother's wedding. I spoke to him just a week ago. He didn't tell me anything about a wedding. Hello? Mom, did you and Dad know Justin is getting married? Of course we know. He's our little boy. We're arranging everything. What? You guys knew and you didn't tell me? Did you forget? Did something happen with the cards? No, everything is fine. We mailed the cards out a few days back. Then why didn't I get my one? Well, it's a small wedding, the guest list is pretty limited. So you guys thought it best not to invite his own brother, but sure enough, Aunt Peggy gets to go. Caleb, perhaps your brother doesn't want you to be there. Maybe it's better you don't come. He doesn't want me there. Well, you let that weasel know I'm going to be there whether he wants it or... Tough luck, kiddo. We gotta go. Really busy over here. We're actually visiting a few venues to taste test dishes for the wedding. Talk to you later. But... No. There was no way this wedding was taking place without him. Caleb would make his own self-invited appearance. So he called up Aunt Peggy again, got all the information he wanted, and packed up for their drive to the supposed wedding at the BII Hotel in Laguna Beach. Beautiful location, isn't it? Yeah, can't wait to meet the groom and congratulate him. Or give him a noogie for not inviting him. When Caleb walked into the beautifully decorated garden leading to the Grand Hotel, he was surprised to see not just his close family members, but literally all his long-lost relatives as if they had walked up from the dead. Walking into the lobby, Caleb suddenly noticed one of his co-workers. John, what are you doing here? Your brother invited me. To his wedding? But you work with me. When did you guys even meet? Yeah, funny story. We sort of bumped into each other and got talking, and he invited me. Caleb suddenly felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned to see one of his old college roommates. Ron, you know my brother? Yeah, we're actually really close. Why? When did this all happen? This turnip invited all these people, his roommate, and not him. Where is that? After searching nearly everywhere, Caleb finally found Justin in the ballroom, talking to the hotel staff. Justin? Justin turned around. The look on his face suddenly changed. You are here? I don't remember inviting you. Exactly. Why wouldn't you invite me to your wedding? Your elder brother, your role model, your mentor. This really isn't the place or the time to be talking about all this. This is my wedding, Caleb. Yeah, this is your wedding, and I hope you realize you didn't invite the person who taught you not to pull your pants all the way down at the urinal. The person who taught you how to hide your teeth when you didn't brush. The person who got you through those tough years in high school. Justin awkwardly chuckled. Caleb, we were kids back then. Caleb shook his head, unable to comprehend anything. Did you think I'm unlucky or something? Because my marriage got called off 2 months back? Did you think I would be upset because you're getting married and I'm not? Justin, you're my brother. I'll always be happy for you. As Caleb tried to talk some sense into his younger brother, he suddenly heard a voice behind him. Justin, the florist just called. The delivery's going to be late. I think we're gonna have to go with plan B. Caleb turned around, widening his eyes in absolute shock. It was Stephanie. You even invited her? What do you mean he invited me? I'm the bride. Caleb and Stephanie had been in a long 6 years relationship, after which he decided to propose to her. The couple got engaged and were planning their marriage in the coming months. It was one of these days that Stephanie had gone to his workplace to surprise him and take him out to lunch. Hey babe, you think you'll be able to get a break from work? I don't know, Steph. I'll let you know. Hey Caleb, are you free after work? Well, that depends. What's up? You want to grab some lunch? Maybe we can walk there together. Yeah, sure. Sorry, Steph. Kind of busy with something. Talk to you later. I know this really nice restaurant a few blocks down. Let's go there. I thought you were busy. Stephanie, you're here. Steph, wait. Where are you going, Steph? And it was a week before their marriage that Stephanie caught him flirting with another woman, Lisa. Caleb loved Stephanie from the bottom of his heart, but at the same time, he sort of took her for granted. What am I going to do? She's pissed, probably expecting me to apologize. Look, bro, if you apologize to her now, you'll be admitting you were cheating on her. And you know what's gonna happen after that? She's gonna use it against you for the rest of your married lives. She's gonna bring it up whenever the simplest things goes wrong. Trust me, I've been there before. Don't be sorry, be strong, and don't admit anything. You're right, I'm gonna be casual about it. She'll get over it soon. She loves me. She can't live without me. Now you got it. After the pep talk from his friend / self-proclaimed marriage expert, Caleb became motivated to be a jerk and maintain his ground, and believed things would work out. Besides, Caleb knew that Stephanie loved him. She would never break up with him and marry someone else. Stephanie, you're making a big deal out of this. It was nothing like that. We just worked together. Then why did you lie to me? It wasn't a lie. The plans were just spontaneous. This wasn't even a mistake. It was just a silly one-time thing. Then I don't think me breaking up with you is going to be a mistake either. It's over, Caleb. Unexpectedly, the plans didn't work out. Where did he go wrong? Stephanie left after a heated argument. But even then, Caleb thought she would call him up the very next day and sort things out. But that didn't happen. What happened was, she was marrying his younger brother 2 months later. Justin, I thought you said he wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here? I wouldn't find out about this? There is nothing to find out, Caleb. We're in love and we're getting married. No, is this for real? Stephanie, have you lost your mind? What do you think you're doing? Caleb, don't create a scene here. It's my wedding. All my in-laws are here. Your in-laws? Do you realize your in-laws are my mom and dad? My family? How could you marry my own younger brother? Caleb, now she's my fiancée. You can't treat her like this. Caleb stared at Justin and Stephanie, speechless. When he suddenly noticed the ring on her finger. Caleb never asked for that ring back after they broke up. He was so sure they would get back together. Are you still wearing my grandmother's ring? You have to give that back to me. No, Justin gave this to me. No, he didn't. I proposed to you with it. Justin, you didn't even get her a new ring? Maybe you're forgetting she was my grandmother too. Caleb stepped back, holding his head. I need some air. He was about to head out the door when another beautiful young woman stepped in. Caleb? Lisa? Even you're here? Yeah. After Stephanie got into that fight with you, she came to meet me and we spoke and now we're good friends. You shouldn't have been so hard-headed after you were clearly flirting with me. Caleb turned to look at Justin and Stephanie as his jaw dropped. Even she is here? Without wasting another second, Caleb did the only thing he could think of, telling his mom and dad. Mom, Dad, do you see what is happening? What's the problem? You should be happy for them. Stephanie is such a sweetheart. What? Now that she's marrying Justin, she's a sweetheart? And when I was dating her, you didn't like her? Well, she is a nice girl. You had your chance with her, but you weren't compatible. Now she's marrying your brother. What's wrong with that? But we were in a relationship. We thought you were with Lisa from work. Are things getting serious? Dad, it was just a little harmless flirting. I was never in love with her. I love Stephanie. Well, boy, it's too late now. When a good opportunity comes your way, you take it or you lose it. Everyone had lost their minds. Caleb needed to talk to Stephanie alone. He needed to sort things out. He searched everywhere until he finally found her out in the backyard, arranging the flowers on the tables. She was alone. This was his chance. "Stephanie, I need to talk to you." Stephanie peered at him and just continued on with her business. "Stephanie, you can't just ignore me. Listen to me, we have to talk. Perhaps you don't realize this is my wedding, and I have a lot of things to take care of. How can you be alright with all of this?" "Caleb, stop roaming behind me like this. What are people going to think? What is Justin going to think? He's not going to like this." The backyard suddenly got crowded with people again. His parents hurried to them, calling Stephanie and Justin together. "Stephanie, come on, the photographer is here. Let's take a family picture." Caleb stood there staring at the cameraman when suddenly his mother began shaking her head awkwardly and whispering to him, "Caleb, can you move just a little? Yeah, just a little. Just a little more. That's nice." "Wow, the picture turned out beautiful. I'm going to get this enlarged for the house." "Thanks, Mom." Staring at his family, Caleb felt like the odd one out, the only one suddenly creating trouble in the now happy family. Justin and Stephanie were happy together. His parents were happy to have a new member to the family. And Caleb, he was hurt. He left the hotel and went to a nearby cafe and sat down to take things off his mind. He felt so enraged at himself. There was nothing he could do anymore. He had lost something that he would never get ever again. As the hours ticked by, he thought Justin would call him, or at least his parents would check up on him. But it was now 9 p.m., and he was sitting all alone. "Mister, we're going to close in 10 minutes. Caleb walked out to the dark, empty road, as though 6 years with Stephanie flashed before his eyes. Was there anything he could do? Stephanie was in bed, ready to go to sleep, when she suddenly heard a noise from her balcony. She saw a dark figure through the curtains and quickly grabbed a vase and slowly inched towards the balcony. "Stephanie?" Stephanie was startled to see Caleb. "What are you doing here? I thought you were a thief. I was about to hit you." "We need to talk. Caleb, I'm your brother's fiancé now. You can't be in your brother's bride's room at this time of the night. I've come here to apologize." Caleb stepped inside, looking at Stephanie. "I'm sorry for everything. I don't know why I did what I did. I guess I was a fool to have let you go. I thought you wouldn't find another man like me, but you did. You found someone much better than me. Look, Caleb, I wanted to marry you, but I've moved on. I'm starting a family now. My in-laws are all very nice. Justin loves me a lot. If only you apologized before, maybe things would have worked out. But perhaps it didn't because you weren't my soulmate. It was Justin. What happened, happened for the best." "Right. I hope you guys have a happy marriage." Caleb turned to leave out the balcony again when suddenly Stephanie called out to him. "Where are you going?" "I'm leaving. Don't worry, I won't be bothering you guys." The next morning, Caleb planned to leave, but as he was packing his trunk, he saw his Aunt Peggy rushing his way. "Caleb, where are you going?" "I'm heading back home, Aunt Peggy." "So early? But I need a ride back." Caleb sighed as he shut the trunk and took out his car keys. "Here, sorry, Aunt Peggy, you'll have to drive yourself home. I'll catch a train." Caleb headed to the train station, booked a ticket back to LA, and sat down waiting for his ride. "Aren't you going to attend the wedding?" Caleb turned to see Justin sit beside him. "No, I can't see Stephanie getting married to someone else." "If you like her so much, why didn't you fix things with her?" "Because I was an idiot. I knew she was a wonderful girl, but I never thought she would leave me and marry someone else. But now she's found someone else like me. You, but I guess infinite times better than me." Justin sighed. But if you don't come, how's the wedding going to take place without you? Justin, I'm sorry, bro. I really can't do it. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for her. She'll be a wonderful wife and a wonderful daughter-in-law, but I guess I'll have to be away from you guys from now on. Well, one thing's for sure. You were right about the idiot part. Did you ever bother reading the wedding card? Justin handed Caleb the wedding card. Confused, Caleb opened it up. The cards didn't have Justin and Stephanie's name on it, but his own name. She's waiting for you. Over the years, Caleb and Stephanie had been together. Stephanie had bonded a lot with his family, especially after they got engaged. Stephanie started coming over on the holidays, going to family parties, and really spending time with people she thought close to her. And the Allen family, too, liked Stephanie a lot. What happened, Stephanie? I caught him cheating on me, and he's not even sorry. It's like he doesn't even care. When Mr. and Mrs. Allen and Justin found out what Caleb had done, they didn't approve of it. He found such a nice girl, and this is what he does? This boy needs to learn a lesson. So they decided to set everything up and hopefully get Caleb back to his senses and the couple back together. I knew it. I was right. She's crazy in love with me. I knew she wouldn't marry anyone except for me. Caleb jumped up in joy, ready to march back to his wedding. Just when he turned to see Stephanie behind him. I'm sorry, I really didn't mean that. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. It was the middle of autumn in the small town of Levocha in Slovakia. The weather had been gloomy for the past few days. Luckily, Miss Mary Minarovich had stocked her home with some essentials beforehand, foreshadowing a big storm to come. And sure enough, the rain started to pour since morning today. Here is the tulip poplar tonic. Tell your mother take 2 spoons twice every day. It will help bring down the fever and any pain. Thank you, Madam Mary. Is there anything you want me to bring you from the market? That's all right. The weather doesn't look good. Go on now. Hurry and run back home. Mary Minarovich was known for her knowledge of herbal medicines. Over the years, she had become like a village doctor to the people of her town. The people respected her and came to her not only for her remedies and cures, but Mary was also an expert midwife. And if there was one person the townspeople trusted and preferred to call to help deliver their children, it was Madam Mary. By the afternoon, the winds began to pick up. The road outside Mary's cottage was now filled with the comforting aroma of her borscht soup. When the sky started to darken, she went around her home and lit her lanterns. Sitting by her window, she enjoyed the breeze as she dipped the coarse pieces of bread into her steaming soup. Life was just as simple for her, living all alone in the small cottage. Suddenly, hearing a knock on her door in the middle of the night, Mary got out of bed, lit her lantern again, and rushed to check who had come. She was surprised to see a tall man standing under the shade of her home. Madam Mary, would you please come with me? My wife, it's her time, he said anxiously. Levocha was a small town, and Mary knew most of the people here, but she couldn't seem to recognize this man. You don't seem like you're from this town, and on a night like this, how did you get here in this horrible weather? And how can I go in this heavy rain? My name is Ange. I live in the neighboring town. I came here by my carriage. Please, Madam Mary, come with me. I really need your help. Mary looked out to see the man's carriage outside her home. It was a donkey carriage. In this mud and rain, your donkey won't be able to pull us, and if your wife is truly in labor already, by the time we reach the next town, she would have probably given birth. No, Madam Mary, the donkey will be able to take us there. We'll reach there on time. Please, I request you to come with me. Seeing the desperateness in the man's eyes, Mary agreed to go. Alright, but let me take some items with me. We'll need it for the delivery. It's alright, Madam Mary. I made all the preparations at home, but the labor pain started so suddenly, I had to come get help. So Mary wore her cloak and followed the man to his carriage. She quickly climbed in and sat inside as he came to close the door behind her. I'll be driving the carriage as fast as I can. The mud and water might splash onto here, so please don't open the doors. But if you sit outside and drive the carriage in this rain, you'll get sick. It's alright, Madam Mary. I'll be fine. With that, the man quickly closed the door and hurried off onto his donkey. Mary sat in the back, listening to the rain pour heavily above her as the carriage pulled off. It was probably going to take a long time to get to the next town. But a few minutes into sitting, Mary was a little surprised how smooth the carriage was running. She had expected the ride to be rather difficult, getting stuck in the slippery roads here. She pushed open the door just a little and peered outside. It was dark. The carriage was traveling quite fast, but strange as it was, Mary couldn't feel it shake. It was oddly still. She closed the doors again and sat there patiently. When suddenly, the carriage halted and Anjay opened the door. We're here. Here? Wow, we got here to the next village so fast. Mary got down, staring at a small wooden cottage just a distance away. She looked at the donkey bewildered. It wasn't even tired. But what was more strange was that there was no mud on its legs. Yet they rode here so fast in this weather. Anjay tied his donkey to the fence and led Mary inside. Mary was surprised when she walked into a near-empty house. All there was a bed upon which lay a young woman clutching onto her blankets in pain. Mary hurried to assist her. What is your name? Katerina. Don't worry, Katerina. Everything will be fine. Can you tell me how long has it been since the labor started? It's been a few hours, and the pain is getting worse. Feeling the young woman's stomach, Mary nodded with a smile. It seems that the baby will be here soon. Mary peered around the empty room before she called Anjay. I'll need a clean cotton cloth. Yes, Madam Mary, I'll bring it right away, Anjay said before he rushed to one of the rooms. Mary was startled when he came back in only seconds and handed her the cloth. Where is your stove? We'll have to start a fire and boil some water. Hurry, there's not much time. Mary sat beside Katerina, trying to console her as she waited for the boiled water. You're in pain. Don't worry, it will be fine. It's only a matter of time and patience. I can see your husband cares a lot for you, but he's a bit impatient, isn't he? He worries a lot for me. It was just minutes before Anjay walked in carrying the pot of boiling water with his bare hands. Mary jumped up to help him. What are you doing? You'll burn yourself, she said, quickly taking hold of the pot with a cloth. It's all right, Madam Mary. I'll be fine, Anjay said, simply letting go, unharmed. Mary didn't waste any time to place the cotton cloth into the water to purify it when Katerina suddenly cried out in pain. It's time. It's time. It's a baby boy. Mary quickly wrapped the newborn in a dry, clean piece of cloth and placed him in his mother's arms. Concerned for Katerina, she quickly inquired, Are you all right? Katerina looked at her in gratitude. I love him. I can't live without him. Mary smiled as she watched the couple admire their child. A moment they'd cherish forever. That night, she helped Katerina clean up and showed her a few tips to take care of the child. She gave Anjay a list of some foods and herbs that would help the mother and child heal over the days, before she prepared herself to get home. The night isn't over. Why don't you drop me home? Of course, Madam Mary. Anjay brought out a pouch and offered it to her. You don't know how much joy you've brought into our lives today. I don't know how to thank you. No, I can't take this. Just getting to see your beautiful child was rewarding enough, and I don't have to tell you to take care of your wife. You're already doing such a good job. Anjay timidly chuckled. I love her more than anything. I know, she also loves you more than anything in this world. Madam Mary, please, name our child. Mary chuckled, looking at the baby nestled in blankets in his mother's arms. Adam. There was only a few hours to dawn when Mary got onto the carriage. Ange returned her home in just a matter of minutes. She bid him farewell, watching him ride off again. Letting out a deep breath, Mary went inside her cottage and sat down, wondering about her strange experience tonight. He wasn't a human. Who was he? Mary had realized something wasn't right the moment the carriage had set off earlier that night. She found it odd how it was running so smooth. When she peered out the door, she was shocked to see the carriage floating an arm's length above the ground. When they reached there, she was surprised to see how Ange brought everything from the other room so fast, as if in a blink of an eye. But when he had gone to get the water, Mary had forgotten to tell him to soak the cloth in it, so she had left Katerina and went to find him, only to see something that shocked her even more. Ange didn't go to another room. There was no other room. He had gone outside and started the fire, and Ange was holding the pot above it with his bare hands. But all her questions were answered the moment Katerina had delivered the child. Mary held the baby in her arms, knowing he was no ordinary child. He was without a navel. Katerina, however, was a human, and Mary was worried for her, wondering if she was safe here with Ange. And seeing the concern on her face, Katerina also understood that Mary now knew. "Are you all right?" Katerina looked at her in gratitude. "I love him. I can't live without him." Katerina was a beautiful young woman who lived in a cottage by the mountains with her mother and her father. Every afternoon she would run out behind her home and sometimes go out a little far to her favorite place up in the mountain. She loved spending time there because when she would go, she would always find a special fruit left behind for her. Fruits that she had never seen before, sometimes a guava, sometimes a pomegranate or a cherimoya. "Katerina, why do you go there all by yourself instead of playing like the others in the field?" "Because, father, every day a friend of mine leaves a gift for me there." "A gift? What gift?" Katerina showed her father a pitaya. He took it in his hands, bewildered. "Where did your friend get this fruit? You can't find these here in Slovakia." "I know, it's strange, isn't it? Every day he leaves me a gift. Fruits that look so bizarre. Nobody knows what it is in this village, but they're always so sweet." Things went on like this until one morning Katerina returned to her favorite spot and closed her eyes, waiting for her friend to come. When she opened them, she saw yet another beautiful exotic fruit. But this time, she didn't pick it up. "I want to see you. Show yourself to me, or I won't have your gift." She tried to call her friend, but he didn't respond to her, and Katerina returned home empty-handed for 3 days. "I know you can hear me. Why don't you talk to me?" But it was silent. "Then I guess I'll be leaving again. If you don't show yourself to me, I don't want your gifts." And on the 4th day, when Katerina turned to leave, she froze in place, hearing a voice behind her. "Katerina." She turned around, overjoyed to finally see her friend. But her friend was awfully shy. "I know you're not like me. You're not like us. You bring me fruit from the land of the desert, sometimes from the land of the dragons, and sometimes from the land of spices. No human can do that." Her friend smiled at her without a word. "Have you fallen in love with me? First time I saw you when you were playing here, I couldn't take my eyes off of you. You were so beautiful." Katerina chuckled, seeing him shy. He couldn't even look at her in the eyes. "Then why don't you marry me?" Two weeks had gone by since that strange night. Mary still hadn't been able to forget about it. It had been yet another beautiful day today. Mary went around her home, lighting her lanterns, when suddenly she heard a soft laughter outside her cottage. Barely catching a glimpse of a young boy outside, she rushed to catch him in the act. "So it's you who's been stealing my fruits every day. What's your name? Where are you from?" she playfully demanded to know. The young boy looked at her with a naughty smile. "You know who I am. I'm from the nearby village. I'm Adam." Mary looked at the boy bewildered. It was the child. But before she could ask anything more, Adam vanished. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. I thought I was late. Where's Professor Miller? Dude, you didn't hear? He left. Mid-semester? Yeah, the new professor's gonna start today. Her name is Catherine Lane. Zach Collins just arrived to his English class at the university. He dropped his bag and took a seat on the second row to the front with his buddy Brian. So why are you late? You're not late when the professor isn't even here yet. Yeah, right. You're just lucky. Hearing the sound of heels tap on the floor, Zach took a quick glance at the door as the new professor walked in. He was a little surprised at how attractive she was. Seeing Zach staring up front, Brian turned his gaze. Dude, the way you're looking at her, have you fallen in love? He chuckled. Zach suddenly snapped back to his senses, a little embarrassed. What? Are you crazy? She's an old lady. She's like 20 years older than me. Suddenly, seeing Brian stiffen up and straighten his posture, Zach zipped his lips, realizing something wasn't right. He turned to see Professor Lane standing right there behind him. Expecting things to go downhill from there, Zach tried not to make eye contact. But unexpectedly, Professor Lane simply smiled and returned to her desk. You think she heard me? The cougar almost got us. Throughout their class, Professor Lane had been polite, calm, and composed. And the friends looked on the bright side. Maybe even if she had heard them, could it be she took it in good humor? Zach especially didn't want to get on the bad side of any of his professors. But knowing the type of student he was, trouble always came his way. Come the next English class, he walked in 20 minutes late and instantly regretted why he hadn't just skipped the class. Zach Collins, you're late. Come on in and take a seat. And this didn't just happen once. Strange as it was, Professor Lane turned out to be very understanding every time. And even when Zach didn't hand in her assignments. How about I give you time till our next class to hand it in? I'll be looking forward to reading your work, Zach. Zach looked at Professor Lane. She truly had the most beautiful smile. It was hard to take his eyes off of her. But it wasn't just she was beautiful, she was so sweet. Zach actually felt a little shady of commenting about her like that the other day. Dude, it's like you have a special visa to the class. You're always late, you don't hand in any of your assignments, and she doesn't tell you a thing. But if anyone else makes that mistake, she's not someone to take excuses. That's such a lie. I hand in all my assignments, just late. Things were going great for Zach. His grades were okay and life was just good. It was on the next weekend, while Zach was chilling at a cafe one afternoon, that he saw the one and only Miss Lane walk in. And Zach immediately planned to flee. However, just as he was out the door, he felt a tap on his shoulder. Zach, busy? Professor Lane asked with a friendly smile. No, I'm free. I'm actually new to this neighborhood. I don't know anyone around here. I thought I would sit at the park by myself. Would you like to give me some company? Sure, Zach said, trying to be as polite as he could. The weather was cool today, and they began walking down the block. The park was about 20 minutes away. You have a car, don't you? Yeah, but I like walking. You like walking? I hate walking. And yes, public transport. It's such a hassle. Well, I hardly use my car. If you want, you can use my car. You would let your student borrow your car? What student? Are we still at the university? Oh, so we're friends. You don't know how strange it is not to have any friends. Ever since I moved here, I've been all alone. Do you know how awkward it is to watch a movie alone? To eat alone? The waiters walk up to me and ask, "Are you waiting for someone?" It's so embarrassing. Catherine shrugged as he jiggled her bag. That's why I stopped eating at restaurants. I came to the cafe to buy bagels for dinner. Zach chuckled. Bagels for dinner. You know, I didn't have dinner either. We can go together. Zach had been a little nervous at first, but Catherine turned out to be a fun-loving, sweet woman. There was not an instance where she let Zach feel there was a significant gap between the two. They had dinner at BII Burgers, and right before they parted that night, Catherine offered to exchange numbers. And that's how it all started. The next day, Zach got a text from Catherine. "Maybe we can catch up again. I had a good time last night." "Sure. We can go watch that movie you were talking about." "Is it a date?" "Oh yeah, you wish it was a date." Zach got ready, caught a bus all the way across town to the theater Catherine had selected. It was a long way, an hour's journey in which she had to change 3 buses, but Zach made it just for her. "You're late. This isn't my class. This is a movie. Be on time." "So you're not mad when I'm late for your class, but you're mad because I'm late for a movie?" "First of all, you kept me waiting, and second, I don't like missing the beginning." And soon enough, Zach and Catherine started meeting almost every day, getting lunch after class or taking a walk in the park. Brian had been noticing Zach was overly happy lately, texting all the time. He figured Zach had found himself a girl, but who? Brian hadn't met her. Throughout their English class today, however, Brian had been noticing the eye contact between Professor Lane and Zach. And on top of it all, right after the class was dismissed, he saw Professor Lane tapping her finger on her watch and mouthing something to him. "Meet me outside at exactly 5. And Zach, too, mouthed something back. "Okay, see you soon." "Is there something going on between you two?" "No, nothing's going on between us. She's like a friend." "I thought she was an old lady." "What? She's not even that old. She's only 7 years older than me." Zach didn't want to admit it, but he was in love with his professor. And by the way it seemed, Catherine was head over heels for him too. And it was rather sooner than later that Zach got a text from Catherine to visit her at her house. "I got your late assignment graded. Why don't you come by my house at 7 p.m. today and pick it up?" "Is this your first date?" "No, she just called me to her house at 7 p.m. where she lives alone, all by herself, to give me papers." "Dude, things are going fast. You know why she's calling you." "I know, but I think I'm in love with her." Zach got himself prepared, wore some decent clothes, a light cologne, bought some chocolates for Catherine, and headed over to her place. The weather was gloomy today. Perfect for a romantic evening, maybe? Fingers crossed. "You're late. You were supposed to be here at 6:30. Zach was a little surprised seeing Catherine so stern. She usually always had a smile on her face. Was she being possessive? "I'm sorry, I thought you said 7. I misunderstood." "Not very bright, are you, Mr. Collins? Come in." What did she just say? Was she trying to be hard to get? Zach followed Catherine inside. She took him to her living room, where she sat on her sofa and began looking through her files. "This is for you." Catherine smirked, peering at the box. She picked it up and looked at Zach. "Chocolate? For me? You think I like chocolates? What do you think I am, a 9-year-old? Catherine dropped the box onto the table rather harshly. "Take it with you and enjoy." "Is everything all right?" Catherine sighed as she handed Zach his paper. "You did good. I gave you a B-, even though you submitted it pretty late. But you got your paper, Mr. Collins. You can leave now." Feeling humiliated, insulted, and embarrassed, Zach left without another word. It had started raining outside, but Zach didn't want to stay here a minute longer. He walked out soaking in the rain, hearing Catherine just simply shut her door on him. What just happened in there? Why was she suddenly so rude to him? Had he done something? Zach waited that night for Catherine's text, unsure whether he should text her first. But 2 days went by and they hadn't spoke. Come Monday, Zach was desperate to talk to her, but perhaps going to her house wouldn't be right. He tried texting her, but the conversations didn't get anywhere. We were close just a day ago. Did something happen? Did I hurt you? Hurt me? Who do you think you are? Why are you being like this? Let's talk this out. If you weren't aware, I have work. I'm busy. I can't spend time on petty matters like this. So Zach decided to confront her. Catherine worked a second job as a screenwriter at a theater on the other side of the neighborhood. Zach traveled there and waited for her all afternoon. Until around 6, he finally saw her step out. And just as Catherine walked around the curb to find where she had parked her car, she froze seeing Zach. Can you please move aside? We have to talk. What are you doing here, and what do you want? I thought you felt about me the way I felt about you. What nonsense! I'm your teacher. Just because I was nice to you, I spoke with you, you thought I'm in love with you? How could you even think I would fall in love with someone like you? Just look at your life. You're not even established. You started college. Who knows if you're going to graduate or drop out, if you'll ever be something in your life. You're nowhere near my standards, and come time, you'll never be. Zach froze on the spot. He didn't know what to say anymore. He just watched Catherine push him aside and get into her car and drive off. She wasn't like this before. They were so close. But now she was just rude and aggressive. Did something happen? Why was she being like this? Come their next class, Zach was hoping they would speak, they would sort things out. But Catherine ignored him completely. She was nice and polite with the other students, but she behaved like Zach didn't even exist. Zach couldn't understand what he had done to deserve this kind of humiliation or this treatment. Things were becoming difficult for him to accept. He couldn't bear how she could insult him like that, how she was treating him now. He couldn't come to her class like this. What would he do? Should he drop out? How can you drop class? The semester is almost over. You worked so hard on this. You paid so much money for this. The way she's treating me, I can't handle it. Maybe this is just her game. Maybe she did this with other people as well. Brian felt bad for Zach, seeing him so heartbroken. He didn't eat properly, he didn't sleep properly. Brian tried to be there for him. He tried to console him, but nothing seemed to work. Zach stopped coming to class. Brian had been sitting all alone, Zach's seat empty beside him. At first, Catherine didn't seem to care, but when 3 days went by, she approached Brian to have a talk after class. Zach is your friend, right? Where is he? I think he's considering dropping the class. The next day, Brian went over to Zach's apartment. Zach looked horrible, depressed, dark circles under his eyes. Zach, there's someone here to meet you. Zach furrowed his brows seeing Catherine step out from behind Brian. Why are you here? We need to talk, Zach. I'll let you guys be. Catherine stepped inside, staring at Zach. The way he stared back at her, she couldn't look him in the eye. Say what you want to say. Zach, there's something you need to understand. Sometimes, we don't fall in love with the person. We fall in love with the character. We assume a person is like this, when they really aren't. We believe in all the good qualities they have, but they really don't possess those qualities at all. We build an image of that person in our mind, and we fall in love with that character. But the reality is, that character doesn't exist. The only time we should fall in love with someone is when we know and like them for their true self. We shouldn't fall in love with someone's false image. We should fall in love with their true image. And I'm not like what you thought I was. I'm sorry, Zach, but we aren't meant to be together. Zach stood there in silence as Catherine said what she needed to say and left. It was within a while that Brian saw her hurrying out and walking down the stairs of the apartment without even talking to him. Brian was outside eavesdropping like any best friend would. Zach, I think I know what happened. It was about a week ago when Brian had seen one of Catherine's colleagues arrive at the university. This was Jenna, one of Catherine's co-workers from the theater. You're here early. Yeah, the director told me to get the script to you as soon as possible. Oh, alright, thanks. It must have been a lot of trouble traveling all the way here. No, it's no problem. Came to see someone for myself. So which one of these students is he? Jenna chuckled. She gazed around the room, pointing at Brian, thinking he was Zach. Is that your boy toy? Catherine had realized, since she had started hanging out with Zach, there had been quite a lot of rumors about her, and she couldn't bear the humiliation. So she did what she had to, trying to push Zach away from her life. The director's been waiting for the final copy of the script. Just 1 minute, I'll get it for you. Catherine was searching her bags for the file she needed to hand Jenna, when suddenly she heard a familiar voice. She looked up to see Zach. Hey sweetheart, just dropped by to tell you I've decided to drop out of college and move in with you. What? Oh, is this your overweight, unattractive, and single colleague who wants to date every actor in the theater and nobody gives her a second look? Who? No, it can't be her. I need your car. Zach took Catherine's bag and opened it right in front of her, took out her keys and went out the door. Please excuse me. My boyfriend is going to drop out of college and move in with me. I've got to be with him. I thought you were a lovable boy. When did you become a brutish man? I was being gentle with you, because I know how delicate you are. I could have broken your heart and made you cry on those days when you got overly confident. Wow, is this the first time I'm seeing your true image? You were acting like such a mature person that day, lecturing me about true image, whereas you couldn't even figure my true image. But I saw you for what you are when I saw you for the first time. Wow, she's beautiful. Dude, have you fallen in love with her? Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Matthew Patterson was a successful, well-established, happy man living in a nice apartment on the 7th floor of a fancy condo in Manhattan, New York. He had a well-paying job as a market analyst at the BII Corp and was looking forward to a bright future ahead. Or at least, he was. Until he got sacked from the job, spent all his savings, didn't have the money to pay the mortgage of his expensive apartment, neither for his expensive car. Heck, he didn't even have money to pay for his phone bill, let alone the installments of his new cell phone. And after a few months of zero payments, the bank seized everything from him. And Matthew had to get out in a week's notice and was now left with only 2 options. After being rejected from yet another job interview, Matthew climbed up 40 stories and stood there on the roof of the skyscraper. Looking down onto Wall Street, he had nothing to live for anymore. He looked at the busy flux of people, the cars speeding by, and closed his eyes. Option number 1, to jump. No, I can't do this. I'm too young to die. So Matthew decided to go with option number 2, to move back with his parents at the age of 35. Dude, consider yourself lucky, getting to live free of rent and bills, unless you wanna move in with me. Darn, the landlady's toilet got clogged again. Don't worry, it's usually not that bad in here. No, thank you. And you haven't met my parents yet. I'm getting a job. I'm gonna be out of there in a month. By the way, can you help me take the boxes? You know I don't have a car anymore. Yeah, sure, buddy. And so, Matthew arrived back home in Old Saybrook, Connecticut the very next day. Matthew, you're here all of a sudden? You didn't even call. Mom, Dad, I have good news for you, Matthew said, wrapping his arms around his parents and heading inside. What is it, son? Mr. and Mrs. Patterson looked at their son, smiling, excited to know the good news. Did he get a promotion? Did he meet someone? Was he getting married? I'm going to move back in with you guys. Suddenly, the look on Mr. and Mrs. Patterson's face changed. But just before they could get in on the details, the bell suddenly rang again. Oh, that must be Sean. He helped bring all my things. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson watched as their son and his friend hurried out and carried back a few boxes. Thanks for everything, dude. No problem. I'll see you around. Bye, Mr. and Mrs. Patterson. That's it? These are all your things? These 4 flimsy cardboard boxes? What happened to your furniture, your car? Right, about that. I got fired. I don't have a job anymore, and I lost my apartment, my car. I don't even have my laptop, my tablets, or my phone. My credit cards are all maxed out. This is all I have now. So you're pretty much left with whatever we gave you. Welcome home, son. Exactly. When Matthew went up to his old bedroom, he was instantly struck with nostalgia. He had moved out when he was 18, and his room was just like how he left it. But now, the single bed seemed too small to fit into. The race car bed sheets looked ridiculous, and the heavy metal posters haunted him. While he tried to make himself comfortable again in the new situation, Mr. and Mrs. Patterson were trying to figure things out themselves. You're spoiling him, like you always did. It's only gonna be a few months, Albert. He's our baby, our child. We can't just send him out. Psh, your baby. Now he's gonna live with us. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson were retired, living a quiet, peaceful life in their suburban home. But parents had to be parents, no matter how old. Dad, what's up? I was just catching up on the daily news, so have you applied to any jobs yet? I applied to a few companies back in Manhattan. Mr. Patterson peered through his glasses, pointing out a news advertisement. Why don't you apply here? They're looking for a mailboy at the Old Saybrook post office. What? Dad, I'm a graduate. I used to work at one of the biggest corporations in New York. I'm not going to be a mailboy. Why not? Your grandfather did this job his whole life. And you think you're too good for this job? You're too good to do what your grandfather did? Oh, take it easy on the boy, Albert. He just got here. Here you go, Matthew, your juice box. I don't want a juice. Is that fruit punch? The days were going by slow for Matthew, and now with his dad suggesting the most ridiculous offers to him, things were becoming more difficult. Matthew lay down in bed, about to dial up Sean, when his mom barged in through the door. Mom, whatever happened to privacy? You can't barge into my personal space like that. Oh really? Have you forgotten you came out of my personal space, and you're still living in my personal space? There's nothing I haven't seen. I'm the one who wiped your bottom, all right? Now here, I did your laundry. Matthew sighed as his mom left the door wide open and walked out. He got up again, locked the door this time, and finally called up his buddy. "Who's this?" "Hey dude, it's Matt. I'm using my parents' landline now." "What's up, bro? How's everything going?" "Don't ask. Dad wants me to get a job as a mail boy." "Hey, what's that noise in the background?" "Mike's here. We're going to the nightclub. Gonna have some fun tonight." "Cool, dude. Can I tag along?" "Sure. You want us to pick you up?" "No, absolutely not. Matthew Patterson, how long have you been leading this sort of life? How shameful. A night what?" "Mom, have you been listening to us?" "Yes, and you can't go. It's past 9 p.m., long past your curfew." "I think I'll talk to you later, Matt." Over the next few days, Matthew found himself following rules that he hadn't followed in the past 18 years. But at the same time, he was getting used to the privileges. Waking up every morning, not having to worry about getting to work, having breakfast ready for you, wearing PJs all day long, playing games on his old PSP, and eating sandwiches with the crusts trimmed off. But even the pampering was getting annoying after 2 weeks, and Matthew was tired of staying at home. He was a city guy. He wasn't really used to the quiet roads of Old Saybrook. There weren't even a lot of stores and shops out here. Matthew decided to take a walk around the neighborhood, get to know the place. He met a few of his neighbors too. There was an annoying kid who lived across the street from him, who he didn't like. But he also found someone he did like, a really beautiful girl who sat by the window at a cafe every afternoon at 5, a few blocks down. And after 2 days of watching her, Matthew finally decided to make a move. "You read Hubert Stein too? His romantic novels are great." "Yeah, they are." "I'm Matthew, and you are?" "I'm Laura. Are you new here? I never saw you around before." "Oh, that's because I recently bought my parents a house here, so I decided to stay over for a few days. I actually live in New York." "Oh, that's nice. So you're a city guy. I grew up here. I live nearby." "And you're a small town girl then. Do you have some spare time for a cup of coffee with me? Or do you need to get going to the barn and churn some butter?" "What? Well, we small town people do have a lot of spare time to enjoy our lives, but aren't you guys always on the run?" "Not today." Matthew couldn't give this girl his number. He didn't have one to give, and just imagining her call home to speak to her parents was out of question. So for the next 2 days, Matthew made up excuses to meet again by bumping into her by coincidence. "Can you stop bumping into me?" "I bumped into you or you bumped into me?" "Oh, so you're clever and pretty. I was actually heading out for a walk, but I don't really know my way around here. You wouldn't mind taking me around, would you?" "I usually come out here to catch the breeze. It's really relaxing here. It's nice to be away from the busy city life." "So what do you do?" "Me? I work at the BII Corp. I'm in marketing. What about you?" "I'm a student. I've been trying to get an internship at a fashion company." "Oh, so that's what you were sketching at the cafe. You noticed?" "You know, I could recommend you to a few people." "Really? That would be nice." Matthew liked this girl and was obviously not going to tell her he was unemployed and living with his parents. He had to show off. He had to be the strong knight that would pick up the princess on his mighty steed, not some loser. And so far, things were going well, and Matthew was planning to call Laura over to his house. "So is drawing a hobby of yours?" "Yeah, and what about you? Do you have any hobbies?" "I'm usually busy listening to my old vintage record collection." "You collect vintage records? That's cool." "I actually have a set at my parents' house. You should come over." "But aren't your parents going to be there?" "Actually, no one's home right now. They went out for the night." "Oh, okay, then let's go." Everything was going as planned. Matthew had, of course, prepared for this beforehand. He bought 2 tickets to the latest BII action-adventure movie for his parents and booked them out of the house for the entire evening. "Mom, Dad, I got you guys tickets to this new movie." "Only 2, you're not going?" "No, I was thinking you 2 have been doing so much lately, you need a break. When was the last time you guys went on a..." And there went Mr. and Mrs. Patterson out the door. The theater was about an hour away, and the movie was 2 hours long, so Matthew had a good 4 hours on hand. By the time he brought Laura home, there was still 2 hours to go. Laura walked around looking at all of Matthew's baby pictures. She picked up a photo frame. "You're really close to your parents, aren't you? The only special child?" "Yeah, we're pretty close." Matthew sat down on the sofa, dimmed out the lights, and took out a few old records. "So what about your family?" "Oh, I live by myself here. You know how parents can be, a little dominating and manipulative. I can't imagine living with my parents." Matthew awkwardly chuckled. Gotta change the topic. Change the topic. "Anyways, you wanna listen to music?" "Sure." But just as Matthew pressed play, he suddenly heard the front door open and a cranky voice shout out, "Why is the volume up so high? Matthew, where are you?" Matthew froze as his parents walked into the living room staring at Laura and him chilling on the couch. "Mr. and Mrs. Patterson," Laura said, deeply embarrassed and shocked herself. Mr. Patterson straightened his glasses and looked at Laura. "You brought a girl to the house without our permission?" Mrs. Patterson nudged her husband and whispered, "Albert, he's a big boy now." She then smiled at Laura. "Hi, sweetie, how are you?" "I'm good, Mrs. Patterson." Laura awkwardly chuckled before she passed a glance at Matthew, who was mortified in embarrassment. "Do you live with your mom and dad?" "It's not what it looks like." "What are you guys doing here so early?" "The movie was boring." "Of course it was. Why didn't I expect this?" "Your father left the theater halfway through the movie." Seeing the family drama about to begin, Laura quickly decided to bail out. "I just remembered I needed to be somewhere. I'll see you around. Bye, Mr. and Mrs. Patterson." Matthew stood there, speechless, as Laura ran off. "You guys just had to ruin it, didn't you?" "Oh, it will be fine, Matt. I'll go get you a juice box and a Pop-Tart. There's nothing a Pop-Tart can't fix." Matthew was never, ever going to show his face out in public here again. He had never been this embarrassed before. But unfortunately, the very next day, while he was out picking up his mail, he felt someone bump into him. "Why are you always bumping into me?" Matthew turned to see Laura smirking at him. "Hi." "So you're the Patterson son?" "Yeah." "I thought you were rich, living in the big city." "I was, but I lost my job and my apartment and everything else. And now I'm a grown man living with my parents," Matthew said with a sigh. Laura chuckled. "Well, that's not too bad. Don't worry, things will be better." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Roger Kohler was a young man in his mid-20s who lived in Crosby, Minnesota. It's been a few months since Roger had been working at a cafe in Crosby and searching for a better job. Roger was on a desperate job hunt, giving numerous interviews one after the other. Soon, however, Roger got good news. He had been hired as a 911 dispatcher at an operations call center in the small town of Duluth, Minnesota. Roger was to start his new job from the next month. Roger took this opportunity to move to Duluth and rent an apartment there. The search was rather easy, and Roger found himself a cozy studio apartment conveniently. The people of Duluth were friendly, and so were the co-workers Roger met at his workplace. Roger had the night shift. He didn't get a chance to interact with many people at the operations call center. One of the senior dispatchers, Dwight Krause, assisted and guided him. Dwight showed him around the office. He informed him of the protocols he was to follow and instructed him on how he should perform his duty as a 911 dispatcher. Although Roger was well aware of how to get his job done, he too was polite and paid attention to the advice Dwight gave him. However, there was one thing Dwight recommended that Roger found quite peculiar. Let me warn you, there is something unique about this call center in particular. You're from Crosby, right? Yes, sir. In this area of Duluth, we get numerous calls from all kinds of people. But when night falls, some strange people call us. Let me tell you, they're nothing but a waste of time. Don't start conversing with these kind of people, just disconnect the line. But what if there's really some trouble? Trust me, there isn't. Some people think it's amusing to call 911 because they need help with silly things. You'll figure once you pick up the call. Don't waste your time. Roger intended on following the advice given to him, but he was rather interested in receiving a call so he could spring to action to save the day. The first night went by awfully quiet. There was only one call throughout the whole night, but when Roger picked up, the person didn't speak a word and disconnected the line. The second night went by the same, and Roger received another call from the same number. Again, the person just hung up the phone. By the third night, Roger was bored out of his mind. Roger started folding paper airplanes on his desk and checking the clock every half an hour. But on this night, around 1, Roger suddenly received a call. He hurried to answer it, but then he recognized the number and frowned. Hello? Roger was surprised to hear a young woman on the other end. 911 operator, what is your emergency? Something is wrong with the electricity in my house. It keeps going on and off. I'm sorry, but I don't see any sign of a power outage in your area. You might want to call a technician and get that checked out. The lights are all flickering. It happens every night. I'm scared. Could you please stay on the line? Roger knew he wasn't supposed to respond to callers who didn't have an actual emergency. But Roger continued to speak with the young woman. This was the most exciting thing he had experienced since he started working here. What is your name? I'm Sarah. Sarah? Sarah who? Sarah Poland? If you're Sarah Poland from Arkansas, you've reached the wrong place. This is Minnesota. And what is that noise in the background? No, I am from Minnesota. I'm Sarah Cumberbatch. And that noise is the door creaking. They open and close all by themselves. The wind is howling outside. It gets extremely cold here. Sometimes I even hear someone whistling. Now that's spooky. I'm Roger Kohler. The conversation with Sarah continued for over an hour. And Roger had suspected that there may not have been any issue with the electricity at one point of the phone call, but he humored the young woman and chatted with her. And above all of that, Roger enjoyed the talk with Sarah. She was an interesting individual. As a matter of fact, the next night, Roger wished Sarah would call again. To his surprise, around the same time as the previous day, he received another call from Sarah. I'm sure your electricity has been working today. What's the emergency, Sarah? Really? I thought you'd never realize. Or am I the fool here? You knew the whole time, didn't you? Maybe, but you just wanted to talk to me. That's why you called, didn't you? So Sarah, tell me something. Why is it that you prank call 911? Ever since Dad passed away, I've been living all by myself in this house. I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't have any close friends or relatives. I feel very lonely. To be honest, also scared. Sometimes it feels like I'm not alone in the house. I was having difficulty falling asleep one night, and I got this crazy idea to have a little fun, so I called 911. It's actually a good thing you called. The nights at this center go by so slow. Now I have a friend to talk to. But you didn't have the courage to speak on the first few days. I remember you disconnected the line. What happened? I wouldn't have spoken, but when I called and heard your voice, it felt like you were different. Really, Miss Sarah Poland? Over the week, Roger and Sarah spoke every night for hours. Sarah spoke about her life. She was a college student. She had a hobby of woodcrafting. Roger also expressed his likes and dislikes, his journey to Duluth, and the struggles he went through. Sarah and Roger enjoyed each other's company. What happened to you? Why did you call so late tonight? No reason, just thought I'd check if you would wait for me. I was waiting. I was missing your silly jokes and your sweet laughter. Sarah, don't you have a hard time waking up? We talk all night. Would you rather I hang up and sleep? No, don't. I can't imagine what a miserable night that would be. Phew, I was afraid you would say yes. I can't sleep without talking to you. Soon Roger found himself attracted to this young woman. He wished to meet her, but Sarah felt a bit insecure. Sarah, I think it's time we meet. I'd like to take you on a date. I don't know about that, Roger. You like me now, but what if you don't like me once you see me? Do you suppose I'm that shallow? I've fallen for you, not for your looks. Roger had become desperate to meet Sarah. And finally, one night, Sarah agreed and gave her address to Roger and invited him to visit her. When you come here, you'll see a large oak tree, and right around the curb, I'll be waiting for you at my house. Wear an extra layer. You won't be able to bear the cold wind that passes down this road. The next evening, Roger woke up early to visit Sarah before he would go to work. The address Sarah had given him was located in a quiet area of the town. Roger was now walking down a narrow road. The last house he passed was a few blocks away. Soon Roger caught a glimpse of a large oak tree on the corner of the curb. He rushed to that direction. Sarah's house was probably around the curb. But when Roger reached the end of the road, he was puzzled. There was a dead end around the curb. Roger stared at a burnt-down, abandoned cabin a distance away. He checked the address once again and roamed around the area. He had come to the right place, but there wasn't anything here, nor was there anyone. Roger was disappointed and a bit heartbroken. As he walked towards the oak tree once again, he noticed something. There was an intricate design carved on the trunk. Roger brushed his hand along Sarah's name carved on the tree. Roger remembered Sarah had a passion for woodcrafting. This was the right address. Suddenly, a chilling, gusty breeze howled in the eerie silence. The wind increased and the weather started to become intolerable. Roger felt something wasn't right. Everything seemed strange here. He returned to the bus stand and headed to the operations call center. Roger was confused, and more than that, he was a bit spooked. Later that night, when Roger got a chance to speak with Dwight, he told him about the calls he received. Dwight, for about 2 weeks or so, I've been getting calls from a young woman named Sarah. Is she one of the pranksters you were talking about? Dwight furrowed his brows and said, You mean Sarah Cumberbatch? So you know her. I told you this call center isn't like the others. We get strange calls at night. Usually, when we would get a call from this number, the caller wouldn't speak. So we told you about pranksters who call here, so you would disconnect the call. Who is Sarah Cumberbatch? Roger, there's something more to her case. Sarah Cumberbatch used to live with her father here in Duluth. It's been about a year since her father has passed away. The call started after that. Sarah would call 911 at least 3 or 4 times a week, but it was never a real emergency. At first, she always disconnected the line without saying anything. Later, however, She started asking for help with mundane tasks, which are not normally dealt with by our first responders. Things like the electricity isn't working or the window won't shut. The house is freezing cold. We supposed she was a prankster and didn't pay heed to her calls. Things went on like this, and the dispatchers went along with the young woman and disconnected the line. But one day Sarah called, and something was different. Her voice sounded odd, and all she repeated was, "I need help." The dispatcher sensed the young woman may actually have been in trouble, but we supposed it was another prank call. She was pretending. It was all an act. We delayed to take action and did not immediately inform the first responders. By the time the first responders arrived on scene, Sarah had passed away on her bed. The first unit on scene called dispatch to confirm that if the woman herself had called 911, and we assured them it was. They came to the conclusion that her health had reached a horrible state by the time they reached there. There was truly an issue with the electricity in that house, and the heater wasn't working. The temperature in Sarah's room had dropped. Sarah had passed away from hypothermia. I regret having overlooked her calls. But stranger things started to happen after Sarah's death. We continued to receive 911 calls from Sarah from the same address, but they were like before. She hung up without speaking. She lived in a small cabin on a narrow road about 20 miles from the busy part of town. The cabin was left unoccupied after she passed away, and later it was vandalized and burnt to the ground. But the phone calls didn't stop. Investigators were sent to the location, but not once did they find anyone on or near the property. We gave numerous calls to the phone company that confirmed the calls were coming from that address, but the phone line from that address had been disconnected immediately after Sarah passed away. We felt obligated to respond to Sarah's calls at first, but later we disconnected the line whenever we recognized it was her. Roger was in a state of shock when he came to know the truth. He didn't know what to say. When Dwight noticed Roger's uneasiness, he patted Roger on the back and sighed, "If you get the call again, just hang up." Dwight left Roger to his job and went away, but Roger couldn't think anything other than all the conversations he had with Sarah. He immediately checked all the call records. He saw the calls from Sarah's number from every night. All those hours they spoke together. Roger put on his headset and listened to the recordings. But to his surprise, he didn't hear Sarah. He was speaking all by himself. How could this be? There was no explanation to what he saw. The burnt house, the tree, there was no one there. Roger anxiously waited for Sarah to call again. He stared at his clock for every minute of the night. But Sarah didn't call. Not that night. Not ever again. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting. Welcome family, friends, and loved ones. We have gathered here today to celebrate the wedding of Sophia Bennett and Daniel Cooper. Thank you all for being here. Let us now begin. Good luck. Do you, Sophia Bennett, take Daniel Cooper to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold in sickness and in health, in good times and not so good times, for richer or poorer, keeping yourself unto him for as long as you both shall live? Today is the happiest day of Daniel's life. He's marrying the girl of his dreams, his soulmate, his other half. But this journey of his in finding true love wasn't so easy. His love life had been a big jumbled up mess, and it all began almost 10 years ago, on the evening of Daniel's senior prom. Daniel and Hannah had been dating for the past senior year, and he was madly in love with this girl. She was beautiful, she was on the cheerleading squad. It was all a dream come true when she actually said yes to him in the first place. But now, Daniel had to make sure tonight was the best night of this girl's life. He had taken all the preparations, got himself well-groomed and looking handsome, convinced his parents to rent him an expensive tux and a nice car, and of course arrange a huge bouquet of flowers for his special sweetheart. His parents were reluctant at first, but Daniel's tears worked best in situations like this, and the parents were bound to give their only boy what he wanted. Man, you took it too far. It's prom, not your marriage. You made your parents freaking spend thousands of dollars on a stupid dance. Jacob, the rest of my love life depends on this one day. Bro, wake up and smell the coffee. She's only with you because she needs to pass. Yeah, after tonight goes awesome, remind me that again, okay? Everything Daniel had planned went well. The only thing that didn't. Hannah's parents had come along with her so that they could take pictures. Come on now, smile you two, stand together, say cheese. Cheese. Daniel stood there next to Hannah, awkwardly smiling as her parents continuously snapped pictures of them. Hannah, however, seemed not to care at all and kept staring across the gymnasium. Hannah, are they going to be with us the whole night? What? Yeah, you can spend time with them if you want. Who are you waving at? Hannah, sweetheart, turn to the camera now. Mom, wait, sheesh. Dan, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. What happened? We're done. We're over, Dan. You're a very nice guy. In fact, too nice. But you're a loser. What? Hannah, where are you going? We were meant to be together. I have to go, Dan. Bye. Hannah held her gown and tapped across the gymnasium in her heels to meet James. The hunk, the popular guy, the captain of the football team. Hey James, you're all alone. Well, the night isn't over. Do you want to stay here or go someplace where we can get lucky? And as her parents continuously took pictures of the memorable night, Hannah waved at them before she went out the door with James. Mom, Dad, I'll be back, okay? And Daniel, he just stood there, choking, trying not to cry in front of her parents, trying not to make a fool out of himself at prom. Sorry, kid, but you'll have to drop us home. We don't have another ride. That night went horribly. It scarred Daniel. He was so hurt. He never wanted to feel love again. Luckily, Daniel had his buddy Jacob, who helped him out of that dark zone he went into. How could she do that to me? I warned you, bro. She was dating James this whole time. I don't know how you didn't see it. Her heart is like a black hole. Oh, come on, dude. It was just prom. You'll find someone nice. The next year, Daniel and Jacob enrolled into college. And it was sooner than later that he found himself a girlfriend again. And let's just say things were more than great with Rose. She was all over him. But this time, the two didn't really have the same intentions. Rose, I think we're going to be together forever. Whoa. What do you mean, together? Forever. I'm in love with you, Rose. You're in love with me. Then I should let you know I'm also dating Alex and Tony, and John is great too. What? I thought we were in a serious relationship. I told my parents about you. Oh, Don't get me wrong, we can still date. To say the least, that relationship didn't work out. And Daniel's college years became painful to look back at. But after those few years went by, Daniel graduated and started working a good job, living his life. And he soon found solace in a beautiful woman named Amelia. She was smart, independent, and strong, and things went well for the first year or so. Daniel thought he had found the one. So come the day of her birthday, he planned not only to surprise her with a birthday party, but to propose to her that night. Bro, it's not going to work. She's gonna say no, and you're gonna be hurt again. We've been living together for a year, man. I don't think I'm a teenager anymore. I'm a grown man now. Amelia and I have a mature adult relationship. You just don't get it, man. You really don't. The whole day of Amelia's birthday, Daniel had been cooking up his plan. He was rather mean to her, obviously didn't wish her, and tried to avoid her for the big surprise. On the other hand, Amelia too wasn't herself. She looked pretty low, like something was bothering her. Probably because Daniel didn't wish her. She was going to be so hyped when she saw the surprise. And after a long, tiring day, Daniel finally brought her home. Amelia, there's something I need to tell you. Really? 'Cause there's something I need to tell you too. Okay, how about this? Let's say it at the count of 3. 1, 2, we need to break up. Will you marry me? What? No. This relationship isn't working out between us. I'm sorry if this isn't the direction you saw things going between us, but it's not you, it's me. I mean, no, it is you. It's just that you're really nice, but you're not the type of guy I'm into. You're too soft and mushy and weak, and I'm the total opposite of that. I gave it a try, Dan, but we're not compatible. Surprise! Bro, you need to call it quits, man. Love just isn't for you. But Daniel was always one step ahead in letting loose and falling in love with the next girl that came his way. And it wasn't only him who suffered the heartbreaks, but Jacob too, who had to be there for him every time. And he figured prevention was better than cure. It's a really bad idea, Dan. Don't do it. At least don't do it in public. On live TV? No. It's better getting dumped on a secluded, scenic spot, away from people. What? No! This is going to be a memory we'll cherish for the rest of our lives. And you can be part of it too. Yeah, I've been part of this since high school, man. The memories you're going to cherish is crying and whining to me afterwards. Daniel was taking his girlfriend at the time, Chloe, to the baseball game. And it wasn't just going to be any baseball game. It was going to be the baseball game. That marked the most romantic baseball games ever to be seen, because Daniel had paid a whole lot of money to book the field and make a special announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you all bring your attention on the cam, please? And share a special moment with a special couple here with us today.
What? Why do they have the camera facing us? What? Dan. No, Dan. Lisa, will you marry me? Dan, don't. This is so embarrassing. Why? Why would you do this to me?
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, looks like things didn't work out as planned. Don't worry, man, it'll be alright.
The guy got dumped. He's crying. Look at him. The girl ran away. Hey, there's nothing to watch here. You guys can get on with your lives. Let's go, buddy. Why would she say no? You fall too hard for these chicks, bro. It's time you take it easy and just have fun. Fun? Just have fun. I'm getting old. I want to get married, start a family. I want to make a scrapbook for my children. You're not even 29. It didn't seem like Daniel would ever get to start that scrapbook. But Jacob sure did start making one. And finally, after so many times of being dumped, after so many heartbreaks, Daniel finally met Sophia, almost a year ago. Jacob obviously didn't like her from the very start and often ended up saying a lot of mean things about her. She's not the type of girl you think she is. I have my doubts about her. She's only using you. But Daniel didn't heed to his words, like always. Okay, at least just give it a few more months, maybe a year. You're moving too fast. This isn't gonna work out. No, I'm proposing tonight. I know she's gonna say yes. She's the one. She's my soulmate. And strange as it was, this time, Sophia jumped up in joy and cried out, "Yes, yes, I will." What? What did you say? You have to be kidding me. Jacob was dumbfounded, and Daniel too. He was confident, but he wasn't this confident. Get up, Daniel. Baby, I will marry you. And today, after the long 10 years of heartbreaks, Daniel was standing at the altar with his soon-to-be wife, about to make history. All eyes were on the couple. They stood there looking into each other's eyes. But Sophia suddenly stepped back. Daniel, you're a nice guy. Too nice, in fact. But you're a loser. I thought you were rich, but you're not even rich. And then I thought maybe your parents were rich, but they're not rich either. I'm sorry, I can't do this. And Sophia grabbed her wedding dress and made a run for it. Sophia, wait! No! We can talk this out! Baby, don't go! I knew it! I knew this wasn't gonna work out. After the day of the wedding, Daniel went back home devastated. His world was shattering apart. His heart never ached this much before. He became depressed and sulked in his room for days, on his couch, miserably looking at Sophia's pictures and dialing her number. You have to stop this and get out of here. Staying in here is making you more depressed. Let's go get a drink. Spend a night at the bar for a change. No, man, I don't want to live anymore. Yeah, but I want to live and I'm hungry, so let's go. Jacob pulled Daniel off the couch and out of the apartment. This guy needed a break. This had gone on way too long. It's alright, man. She wasn't the one anyways. You'll find the right girl one day. No, I'm never falling in love again. I'll never allow myself to fall in love. Hey, don't be so harsh on yourself. Hey, you. What do you think of yourself? All of a sudden, the guys heard a voice behind them. Daniel turned to see a young woman storming his way, pointing her finger right in his face. You thought you were gonna mess with my friends and get away with it? She said, picking up a bottle from the table. What did I do? I'll teach you a lesson for what you did. Following her, one of her friends suddenly rushed forward and pulled her away. Beth, stop! It's not him, it's not him! It was some other guy. Oh, okay. She just saved your life. If it wasn't for her, I was about to kill you. Dude, I think I'm in love again. I found my true love. Not again. This time, I'm going to make her fall in love with me. No, you're not. You're gonna beg her to fall in love with you. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.